Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Kaiserreich. Last episode we failed to participate in the war against Afghanistan. It ended the way that war always does. We are trying to keep ourselves neutral here, at least as long as we can. I'm totally fine with that. All things considered. What the heck? We'll see where it goes, though. Maybe there will be more clarity on that later. We, of course, have council over here. Famine in Szechuan, as you do. Yeah, our observer in Madras changed. Mechanical computing. Right. Do we want to turn off notifications for this? I feel like we want to turn off notifications for that. We will see what this ends up meaning. Oh boy, it's salt tax. Alright. Okay. The salt tax debate. Although, so far, there has been mostly universal agreement amongst the Council on policies to tackle the economic crisis, it would be hard not to eventually reach an issue to which the Nizam and the Big Four would end up butting heads on, with today's being the issue of the salt tax. Salt has long been taxed in India, but under British rule, this taxation reached inordinate levels, with many citing its doubling in 1923 as one of the primary inciting forces for the revolution that erupted soon after. When the Federation first came into existence, the Nizam and Big Four collectively agreed to repeal the 1923 increase, but even still, the salt tax has remained one of the chief sources of federal income to this day. With the ongoing economic crisis, however, even current levels of salt tax have seemingly slowly become nearly as exorbitant as under the British, seemingly being made worse by socialist agitators from the north of the border, where such tax no longer exists. To the Big Four, the lowering of the tax seems like the obvious solution, even if it may result in a significant reduction of income to the Federation. Such a proposal has been met with strong opposition from the Nizam, a man whose notoriously miserly nature would not even see him pay 3 annas for a dab of ice cream. He thought it wasn't high enough quality. Passing this proposal is not, however, seen as completely impossible, as Nizam has often been known to be won around with suitably moral argument, and time will tell if the princess will be successful with such an approach. The people cannot continue to suffer. We cannot afford to give in to the greed of the presence. I see no reason why we can't hit it with the people cannot continue to suffer and lower the tax. We're going to go, I was going to say, we're going down this route anyways, so adding a little bit of extra time to it really isn't the end of the world. Lots of good stuff here. I think we probably, right now I think we maybe want to go down. The fact that this gives extra research speed is good. Yeah, I think we need to go down the Berar Road path, even if it's not really that good. Harlan Commune! This is the first time I've seen this. Since the beginning of the decade, Harlan County, Kentucky. Yeah. Which would be like here-ish. Harlan County, Kentucky has been embroiled in conflict. The IWW and other unions have attempted to organize the miners of the country, facing steep and oftentimes armed resistance from local authorities and company forces. This week, fighting in the town came to a head as miners seized the town of Harlan, including its National Guard depot. Having routed anti-union forces from Harlan, they moved to capture other parts of Harlan County, taking up positions in the Cumberland River Valley before proclaiming a local commune. Already, the crisis in Harlan is shaping up to be even worse than the Mingo Country War of 1923, as socialists in large northern cities march in solidarity with the Harlan Communards. Is this America's 1925? I mean, we'll see. Mongol aristocrats take Mongolia, as it is. So it goes. I'm actually going to move this line a little bit. Nothing we want to do is, I'm just going to delete it. Because, the war's not starting anytime soon. But the thing we want to do is want to cross these major rivers. And once we do that, we'll secure bridgeheads, and we can kind of... Whoa! The Battle of the Tapi Basin. Ever since the war in the north turned into the stalemate, into a stalemate, our western border of the socialist regime has been aligned with the Tapi River, beginning in Berar and flowing out to the north coast of Surat. While generally the border has remained fairly static, the large basin of the river is dotted with many islets where occupation has frequently remained fluid and nebulous, even with patrols by our river crews. Calcutta has clearly been paying close attention to our patrols, as in the early hours of the morning, local patrols alerted us to socialist troops having seized control of one of our outposts. In between the few soldiers that were deployed there, returning to shore for supplies. While initially fearing this is the start of a much larger invasion, so far we have seen no movement elsewhere from the Republic's troops, with intelligence reporting to us that they seem equally confused about this happening. The troops on the island, sitting underneath their false flag, seem to be fortifying the island, though, suggesting that they don't intend to leave it anytime soon. Marshal Syed El Edros has already begun preparing a contingent to attempt to retake it, with him arguing that we must not surrender an inch, even if it escalates things further. The Dominion, however, recommend we surrender this pointless rock, as we cannot risk any escalation, but who are they to hold orders around, really? How dare they? Retake the island now! Curses. The Federation is beaten back. The news from the Tapi outpost is bitterly disappointing, with their patrols reporting us back to the news of a socialist victory on the island. 4 of our men reportedly killed in the fighting, with a further 2 injured. These 2 were hurried back to the shore by the remaining 4 men, who organized a retreat once the disastrous assault had clearly failed. While our men are clamoring for revenge, we must bide our time to strike back at Calcutta again. When we do, we will show them what vengeance truly feels like. Calcutta will be made to pay soon enough. Boy. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop. State of Maharashtra proposed. Although southern India may be free from British rule, it has yet to fully free itself from the administrative scars such rule has left upon it. Many territories still find themselves left in an awkward internal limbo. While the formal Madras presidency may have found itself joining the Federation peacefully as a constituent state, the same did not hold true for the Bombay presidency, whose lack of a strong council led to be quickly being picked apart by local princes. In the south of the presidency, Kolhapur especially made use of the opportunity to greatly enlarge itself, further reinforcing its status on the council. All this ended upon the Nizam issuing a proclamation that all lands north of the Pune would be administered by Hyderabad until a proper agreement could be reached as to its divisions, owing to skirmishes amongst the princes over the land. Despite some official adjustments being made in the subsequent years, most notably seeing Nisak and the surrounding area being ceded to Baroda to serve as a new capital, while Baroda itself remained under socialist occupation, the situation itself has remained mostly unchanged since the revolution. In an attempt to rectify things, however, an idea that has been floating around the Chamber of Princes has at last made its way up the council. Under this motion, the remaining lands of Bombay would be combined with those still held by Baroda into the state of Maharashtra, led by Sayajirao Gaikwad, with Baroda being handed over to another member of the dynasty if it were ever to be restored. Although this move is clearly a popular one, it's regarded as just compensation for a council member. Osman has remained reluctant about giving control of the territory, especially the city of Bombay itself. While inclined to keep it, the Nizam has also considered adopting an alternative proposal suggested by Akbar Hadari to partition the remaining region amongst all the local princes, with Bombay remaining under Osman's direct control, with the territory being under the Nizam's control. The choice of the future is entirely his to make. It's only fair that he be compensated. Bombay shall be partitioned. It is the Nizam's by right. Tighten the grip. This gives us a civilian factory, so I'll take it. Grip tightened. Can we get... No. Though I will say, for this particular faction, we'll just get bolt attack. We can't get the portrait that produces 500 guys a week. What we'll get, who could say? Rip on-chain click. Oh yeah, we could do this. We want a thorough planner. And Guerrilla Fighter. Look at that. Let's see how high our planning can go. Russia is once again on the world stage, and the Bora Road has been completed. %56%. Alright. We're going to go back to training. We're going to finish the Nizam Sagar Dam. Decrease aftershocks until April 5th. It's already June, so that should just end it. It's going to be removed in July, and it's mid-June. Yunnan click falls into open civil war. Open into just civil war, not open civil war. Should probably get sport weapons. That feels like a smart thing to do. Fall of the Kingdom of Finland. Foundation of the Deccan Football Federation. For half a century now or so, football has been played regularly in India, one of the few things imported from Britain that's still held in high regard by the Federation. And supporting its growth is perhaps the only common policy you'll find between the Federation and Calcutta regime. While the sport historically has been most popular in Bengal, its popularity in Cochin and Travancore cannot be discounted, and since India's fracturing has spread rather rapidly through the rest of the Federation, the team now sponsored by Maharaja Vidyar in Mysore. On to the growing popularity of football in the Federation, an expanding number of teams. There's been talk for the past few years of a merger between Mysore and Madras Football Association to be a singular entity responsible for governing the sport for the entire country, and as of last week, it seems these talks have finally borne fruit. In the coming months, the formation of a Deccan Football Federation is set to occur, with the organization being expected to be based in Bangalore. Attempts are also being made to organize an all-Federation league, with both the Ferguson Club and Madras Sporting Club having agreed to sign up to such a venture. While such things may remain tense, both at home and on the border, advancements like this in the sporting world should help at least the average person more easily get through it. Nothing like a good game to take your mind, good old game to make your mind off things. +1 stability. Coup in Siam. I don't like it. Queue up another building. We no longer get the effects of aftershocks from Black Monday. And there we go. Constitutionalist victory. The thing that we want is modify widespread world poverty by good stuff. Oh boy. Appointment of a new Chief Justice. We have to make a choice. With the nation slowly emerging from the ashes of Black Monday, the Council is now fully returned to proper non-emergency sessions, although proceedings are still expectedly tense. Today's agreement is rather textbook, aside from the Nizam seemingly holding back on his misuse of power for once. The previous Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Paz Hamarani Iyer, announced his retirement a few months ago on account of his advanced age. The appointment of a new Chief Justice is generally supposed to be handled by the Council, which has for the past few months been rather distracted. Now that it is finally addressed, the Big Four and the Nizam remain staunchly divided on who should be his replacement. The chosen candidate of the Big Four is Srinivas Varadacharya. Srivinas Varadacharya. Notable judge. I'm good as pronouncing these words as I am at all other words. Notable judge from Madras and protege of Paz Hamaneri Varadacharya. Seen as the natural successor for the position, and his neutrality in regard to the ongoing federal politics is seen as a major positive of his selection. Nizam, on the other hand, favors Ali Khan for the opposite reasons, with Ali Khan being from Hyderabad itself, and someone whose family has ties to both Osman as well as his father, making that likely he would side with Nizam on key issues. Still, Ali Khan isn't a purely nepotistic pick, with his own strong record to boot, and the rest of the council could still decide to back his candidacy for Osman if Osman refused to budge, though with it being unlikely for him to veto uh, Varadashirayar, Vara Dash Arayar. Varadashirayar. Just read it. Varadashirayar. The princes could simply stand their ground and vote him in. So that seems likely. We're still sitting at disputed dominance. We could rely on the Razkars. We're going to do Andhara irrigation schemes. Oh, coup in Siam. We're gonna do dispersed industry. I don't know if that's still good. This is like 3-year-old infant. Dublin Olympics. The Silver Jubilee. Today marks the Nizam's Silver Jubilee, the 25th anniversary of his ascent to the throne following his father's unfortunately early demise. While there have, of course, been festivities to celebrate this great milestone, especially with those in Hyderabad itself being granted a day off from work to celebrate, Osman has announced an even greater celebration, Durbar, to be held in February. Nizam's announcement has generally been well received with recent events, although some have taken note of seemingly suspicious undertone with regards to his claims of a great change. I will coincide with the event, however, many will simply dismiss this as unfounded speculation. A good Durbar is always a fantastic time. We shall see whether anything comes of that. Coup in Algiers. No surprises there. I think we have, all the XP that we need. But not all the guns that we need. Though we are going to get there. Okay. Civilian factories are very good. Oh, we should get some more iron, so we don't have to import it. Failed army coup in Tokyo. Democracy survives. Hi. Alright. This name, man, I'm really bad at this. Majlis-i Ittihadul Muslimin denounced the council. Since its founding, during the early days of the Federation, the Majlis-i Ittihadul Muslimin has been one of the loudest voices in support of the Nizam's rule over the nation, breaking with many to back his constant use of vetoes and other such powers. Today, they have gone a step farther than they ever have before, with the leader, Muhammad Baradur Khan, calling openly for the abolishment of the Council of Princes in support for Nizam's direct rule over the Federation. He's made it clear that his belief in the Council has done nothing but hold India back, stating that it was the Nizam who saved the South from destruction by the socialist bandits who marched upon it. Khan has argued that the Federation should be further reformed to protect the interests of Muslims, and that the Federation's laws should be modeled upon Sharia lines, though also giving reassurance that Hindus would be exempt from certain aspects. While the Nizam is rumored to privately support Khan's statements, he's quickly faced immense pressure to publicly distance himself from these radical statements, not only the Big Four, but many of his closest advisors. They made it clear to him that even if he does think the Nizam is right, it would be foolish to not at least placate the other princes through a public statement. They, however, can do little but hope that Nizam does listen to the reasoning on the matter. Such divisive radicalism cannot be supported, and he has a point, feel like that such divisive radicalism cannot be supported is probably what we need to go with, which means we would need to go. We may want to lean on. We may want to make concessions to the assemblies to reduce the power of the princes. Back to this sort of central position. A Belgian Declaration of Independence. Oh boy. Schleicher is out, and Schwarz, this is white, I believe it is black, white, red government in Germany. And here we go. Okay. Experience, supply. Combat penalties in core territory. No, it's not our core territory, technically. We're gonna... I don't need metal cost. Planning speed is nice. Entrenchment speed is nice. Division experience gain, command power. I think we're gonna go with quick improvisation for faster planning. With buffier planning and buffier. Congress of Arel. Mustafa Kemal shot. Let's see. Interesting. We do not have enough infantry equipment, though we're getting enough for reinforcement. Oh dear. Push to reform the Chamber of Princes. Originally founded by the British to allow the voices of the Indian princes to be heard, the Chamber of Princes has remained rather unchanged. Its continued form in the Federation, save for words going up to the Council rather than to the Viceroy. When on occasion, proposals find their way up from the Chamber to the Council, officially introduced by one of the Council members of the Chamber, has so far remained little more than a forum for grievances to be heard. Today's proposal, sponsored by Rajaram III, aims to change that through giving the Chamber an advisory role in the lawmaking process. As part of this, proposals would be first submitted to the Chamber for review before they reach the Council at all, with the princes of the Chamber providing feedback and requesting changes where needed. The proposal would then be returned to the Council member, at which point they could choose to revise it further and resubmit it to the Chamber, or submit it directly to the Council. As expected, the Nizam has made it quite clear his opposition to the idea. In spite of his restraint in recent months, he has at least signaled he may simply move to veto the proposal outright. He's done many times before. So far, the only thing that stopped him is the advice of his trusted advisor, Akbar Haidari, who instead proposed that Osman back the proposal, arguing that it ultimately gives little power to the Chamber, but with his back, he could easily frame it as a major gift to the princes. Such a gift would, of course, greatly improve the Nizam's standing amongst the lesser members of the Federation, something that may prove useful in the event of him needing allies against the Big Four, while vetoing it may drive the people into their hands. Instead, whether Osman chooses to listen to the advice is anyone's guess. Know that the Nizam has granted them these privileges. So, we're still sitting in the, Okay, we should probably grab... Oh, nice! We can actually afford to grab something mildly useful. Let's get interwar artillery. Because at some point we will want... Hold on. Before we get interwar artillery, let me check. Yeah, we have engineering companies. So, what we probably want are mountaineer divisions that have artillery and other things. Idealism really survive in the Balkans. We shall see. Alright. Nice. That basically gave us a civilian factory. We need to get to that new federal army at some point. Though the longer we can hold off on military reform, the better. More civilian factories earlier is better. Yeah. Zaude secures power in Yunnan. Good for him. Or troubling, I guess. There's the Belgrade Pact. Uh-oh. Okay. Temple Entry Proclamation. While castes permeate all aspects of Hindu life within the Federation, how the law chooses to interact with it has always been a devolved issue for every state to handle in their own way. In the Kingdom of Travancore, under the rule of the senior Maharani and Regent Sethu Lakshmi Bai, this manifested in a strong opposition by the government when it came to any legal protections for Dalits and a rigid enforcement of the taboo on sea travel. Bai's rule as a regent, however, was highly controversial owing to both her authoritarianism and her original disputed appointment by the British. When Chitaria Thurnal came of age, he immediately set out to reverse many of her policies. It is no surprise that today a new proclamation has been given by the Maharaja, promoted to the wider public by his Diwan, Chaput Pata Biraman Raswami Iyer. Within the proclamation, the young Maharaja has declared that none of his Hindu subjects will be denied the peace and comfort of the Hindu faith. By reason of his birth, caste, or community, by extension, that none of his subjects shall ever be denied right to enter or worship a temple within Travancore. While this proclamation has already caused controversy among some of the nation's elites, especially with the Raja of neighboring Cochin, it has, on the whole, been very well received, with other states now beginning to consider whether they should too make a similar move. In Hyderabad, however, the reaction to Osman has been rather different, with the Nizam caring little about the details of how Hindus wish to play with each other. Instead, his eye has been drawn to Iyer, the man that many have regarded as the power behind the throne, since the Maharaja's ascendancy to the role. Despite struggles in the rest of the Federation, Travancore under Iyer has disproportionately flourished, and although Osman has previously been aware of them, and his mind now cannot help but wonder if Iyer is the solution he needs. The Nizam could use a man like this Iyer. Anyways, I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.